Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Namaste. Okay, it's 10 a.m. and today is the sixth yoga talk that I'm giving. I'm doing this yoga talk every day at 10 for about 25 minutes. And I wanted to share with you that I've just uploaded onto a YouTube channel called Patrick Creelman, and I've uploaded all the talks so that you could see them if you wanted to, and they're on YouTube, so you can pause and play and whatever, and they'll be there for forever. So that you can use the YouTube is more stable, I find. So you have that if you wanted to go back and listen at all. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Marcia. Good morning, Evelu. Good morning. Yes. Good morning, Vivian. Yes. Good morning, Freddie. So, good morning, Victor. So, carrying on from our discussion so far, what I've been doing is presenting, morning, Matt, morning, buddy. What I've been presenting are the sort of the building blocks and the concepts that have helped me to cultivate a yoga path. And what I wanted to go further into today was how a path for yoga is often built in the beginning through the practice of yoga, even going to yoga class or doing yoga class online, and that we build a path over time through these small practices. So yoga practice and yoga class is a place that we start to learn yoga. We learn the practices, we learn the asanas, we learn the breathings and the basic practices of Hatha Yoga. And there's great benefit to that. And we find flexibility, and we find some strength comes, and some better health, some flow of our health comes. And this is very helpful. And those physiological and health benefits are kind of the fundamental reward for doing the yoga. However, over time, being more flexible and having good flow of energy is definitely helpful, but it does not necessarily clear away our deep insecurities or our deep cycles of negative thinking and emotional storms that we face day by day. So the question could be then, what can we do to start to clear away some of these deeper challenges that we faced, internal challenges that we face? Yesterday I talked about purification and how in yoga we use the practices to purify our body and mind. And we were talking about it in terms of decluttering, like decluttering the mind and decluttering the body and mind, like you would declutter a closet. You declutter your body and mind. And how we do that is we cultivate a sattvic mind. So we work on being calm, we work on being clear, and we work on being illuminated in the state of our mind and our body. But to further that idea is we go, well, how do you do that? How do you create a sattvic mind? How do you declutter? How do you further clear the storms that we feel in our mind? So today I wanted to discuss the idea of truth and Satya. Satya is one of the yamas in yoga, which is the behavioral disciplines. And Satya is truth. And truth is a big word. And it will, the idea of the truth is layered. Meaning, when you say, what is your truth? This can be hard to define. What is my truth? We often think of what is true for me, you could say, right? But truth is truth. It is the stable aspect of reality, the truth. Like when you're building a house and you have to make straight lines for the walls, we say we're truing the wall. It doesn't change, doesn't go sort of, like some of our apartments where the wall goes, it's like, it's not very true. It's not true, that wall. So the truth is something that is stable, unchanging. And this is the deep inquiry of yoga. What is my truth? And even who is the true me? We change clothes, we change diets, we change hairstyles. We don't change our shirts. That's true. But we change, the external changes all the time. The body is constantly changing. The body changes, and actually we want it to change. We want the body to change. We want it to grow and expand each day. And so the asana helps us to create this knowledge that to realize that the body is changing. And we see how the thinking mind is changing also. And you go, okay, so what's not changing? The body's changing, the mind's changing. What's not changing? And we go deeper. And we can take this to a more simple experience outside of the yoga and say, like, speaking your truth as a practice in yoga. Do you want this? Yes or no? Do you like this? Yes or no? Did you do that? Yes or no? And these questions are asked of us all the time, every day, from our close people, from our far people, from society. We're asked questions, and then we have the opportunity to answer. And being able to answer truthfully is not that easy. It's not as easy as just saying, yeah, of course I tell the truth. Because there is so much deep thinking happening all the time that our mind will often defer to the less painful answer in the circumstance, to not disappoint society or not disappoint whoever we're communicating with. We will sometimes just give an easier answer. Oh, it's okay, or whatever. So to speak the truth takes great practice. Takes great practice to speak the truth. And I think that we get that chance to speak to the truth every day. But we can't assume that we are going to do it well every time. So another thing that we did this week is we talked about ritualizing the day, making the morning ritual, having a small ritual such as waking up, doing a short pranayama. Could be 5 minutes, could be 2 sets of 5 minutes. Inhale 5 minutes, exhale 5 minutes. Could be doing your oil pulling, a tablespoon of coconut oil in the mouth. Swish it around, set your timer, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Spit it out. These rituals create an intention. I want to be clear. I want to declutter my energy in my mind, my system. And you do these practices, and then you feel this satisfaction of fulfilling those intentions. These ritualizing the day is very helpful. And we talked about ritualizing further in the day, having a pocket of the day where you choose to read for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And then a ritual of doing our workout, doing asana or whatever workout you do, say for an hour or 5 hours or whatever you do. and doing a ritual of such as at the end of the day, journaling and reflecting on your day. And not being so caught up with what's next, but looking back and going, okay, how'd that go? And I often have like a sort of the outline of my day, and I look back and I kind of check off, oh, didn't get the reading done, or didn't have time to meditate, or whatever it is, things happen. But we start to log, and in that logging, we're able to have a more honest account of our time. An honest account of, I set out to do these things, and did I or didn't I? And I have found this very helpful. The mind tends to remember things differently than reality is. And so when you write it down, the written word is very powerful. And seeing it and having a plan and some rituals and then reviewing it. It takes some time, but it's very helpful. And in doing that, I have found my mind becomes more relaxed. The sattvic mind. A sattvic mind is more probable to tell the truth. A chaotic mind or stressed out mind is less probable to tell the truth. We get stressed out, and then we don't want to face the circumstances that saying something that is like maybe less appealing will bring with it. So the truth, Satya, the truth. Setting up rituals through the day. Allowing yourself to reflect on it, to review it. At the end of the day, setting up the next day, doing a little tiny list, like 4 lines, blah, 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 this time. So what I'm going to recommend now as another ritual, it's like the whole day becomes rituals, is that you take a pocket of the day. It could be 1 hour, could be whatever, and you say, you schedule out, in this 1 hour, I will say the clear truth in every instance. You get a message, you get an email, you talk with somebody, you're talking to yourself, whatever is happening in that hour, choose an hour, and no matter what, you test it out. You test out just being completely authentic. No. Often it'll be like, no, yes, no. Okay, maybe no. And you challenge yourself to take this ritual like we would do with meditation, pranayama, like we would take with the oil pulling, with trikonasana, with the headstand, and have a dedicated time to do that thing. Challenge yourself for an hour a day to be absolutely, completely truthful. It's not easy. The further the insight around this is that when we are honest, when we are completely honest, one thing we start to realize is how much disagreement comes with that. That there is a disagreeing aspect that arises in this relationship to life when we are completely honest. Let's say authentic. So there's a disagreeableness that arises, which is a big part of why we avoid being really clear and honest all the time. So there's this disagreeableness that arises, and we're kind of always hedging against it, insulating against it. And one of the things that occurs in a relationship, which is quite fascinating, is that a relationship is deepened through disagreeing. That a relationship is often, like, there's the common thinking that we all have, we're trained, that with people that I want a close relationship with, I will lean into, and so we tend to agree with, and we complement, and which are all of that can be helpful in the right approach. But there's this aspect to it where the disagreeableness within a relationship will reveal some honesty, some truth. Like, do these pants make my butt look big? No, they look awesome. But somewhere deep down, you're like, When someone goes, you know what, they do. Where are the other ones? Or, is that okay if we stay late? Is it okay if you, et cetera, et cetera? And we go, yeah, it's okay. But somewhere deep down, it's like, actually, it's not. But I fear sharing this will bring me some disagreement or some conflict. Not everything is going to work out the way we want it to, and certainly it comes at a cost. But unless we take a little pocket and try it out, then we start to walk further and further away from it, and we start to know less and less about what we want. That unendingly painful question, what do you want? What do you want? That terrible question. By practicing speaking your truth and being authentic for a period of time, a short period of time, is going to be an eye opener. It's an eye opener, and the capacity to take little steps, incremental improvement, little steps. You don't just all of a sudden become a brash, you know what, I don't like any of this, I don't like you, I don't like this, I don't like that. We don't want to let the pendulum swing so far the other way that it smashes down our house and our castle. We want to move incrementally. You test it out. It's like a practice. You test it out. You do this a little bit. Test it out again the next day. Oh, that worked. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Do it again. Oh, but it worked. And there's some progress. This incremental improvement is what becomes unstoppable. So we're talking about Satya, truthfulness, which is part of the yoga path in the Yamas, the social behavioral disciplines. So we're just a clear path. We're on a clear path of getting to know ourselves. This whole thing is about getting to know ourselves. And if yoga is a toolkit for us to know ourselves authentically, then being in practice and learning to follow, which we have all done. I know most of you online, we're all fellow practitioners. We're all learning and going to classes. This ability to let go and to follow has a very deep and powerful impact on our ability to listen to the truth of our own authenticity and eventually to follow that. We need this challenge. It seems that we need this threshold difficulty, this beneficial difficulty, where we follow a guideline, we follow a ritual, we follow a teacher or a teaching or whatever, and even when it feels like, oh, I don't want to do that, and you without hurting yourself, without being reckless, you do it anyway, and you challenge that cycle of thinking that says, oh, I know what I want. No, I know what's good for me, because we've had so many years of denying the deeper truth of that these messages are coming from the surface. More often than not, they're coming from the surface. And so we have to be able to ward them off and follow. And as you follow someone else's guidance, someone with some experience, whether it's in yoga class or not, when you follow someone's experience, you start to go, oh, discomfort is not an indicator of going the wrong way. Actually, you can further that and say sometimes conflict, arguments, or even pain is not necessarily an indicator of going the wrong way. Some of my best relationships are built upon huge, massive arguments, massive conflict, and those relationships not always produce some deeper, authentic love and care. It's like, if someone is willing to tell you the truth, wow. In a loving way, but tell you the truth for your own good, not to harm you, but to be there and to really share what we're not able to see, then this is something worth holding on to. If that truth helps. If it, there is also, you could say, someone could sit in front of us and tell us all the bad things that we've done in one sitting. And it would take a long time maybe, but that would be overwhelming and painful. And that might not help. So there is some balance to be made. And in the yoga teachings, what comes before truthfulness is non-harming. So it's like this balancing act of being true, being truthful, and to learn about ourselves through the hardship of practice and study, self-study, learning about ourselves, and that learning, studying ourselves, provides opportunities to express ourselves authentically. Now, when we express ourselves authentically, there are some indicators. Like, when we speak authentically, we are left free, regardless of the outcome. If we know what we want and we ask for it and we don't get it, this is still more fulfilling and freeing than asking for what we don't want and getting it. Living into a life wholeheartedly, successfully, and all the rewards that come with that, if it's not our authentic path, you won't be happy. You won't be fulfilled. The what is the Kurt Cobain from Nirvana? Remember Kurt Cobain? Anyway, famously said, it's better to be hated for who you are than loved for who you're not. As kind of a harsh wording, but I love it. It is potent to live into your truth more and more, and to trust. I mean, it can be a slightly rough road in the beginning. That's why I say ritualize your yoga path. Take a block, take an hour, and say, you know what, for this hour, and set a timer. I'm a timer fiend. Just set a timer for everything. Courtney Love killed him. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Gotta be careful. You say one thing and it becomes a conspiracy. Instagram. But the ritualizing a period of time where you can challenge yourself. It's like holding handstand. It's like, okay, no matter what, I'm gonna speak authentically for the next hour. And you can prepare people even. Tell people, I might be a little more blunt in the next hour, but let me ensure that it is a practice for me. It is not about the results. Again, a great teaching of yoga. It's not about the results. It's about the act. It's a sincere act of authenticity is much more fulfilling, even if it doesn't fulfill its goal, than 1,000 acts of inauthenticity that succeed. And this is the path of the spiritual path of yoga, authenticity. To find yourself in a place free from the nagging thought that you didn't do the thing you knew you needed to do, or you didn't say the thing you needed to say. That nagging that builds up over time. The more times you didn't say what you meant to say, or didn't do what you meant to do, it builds this cloud of clutter. Again, it's like decluttering. Declutter the mind, declutter the body. So being free, we say yoga's about being free, follow your bliss. Totally. But the road to get there it can be rough. So we need this. These careful reminders. Make a clear ritual plan for your day. Make them small. If it's too much, if what I'm saying is too much, make them tiny. 5 minutes in the morning, do a little pranayama. 5 minutes midday, do a little truth 5 minutes. 5 minutes of reading a day. Done. 15 minutes out of 24 hours. That's it. Ritualize a little bit. Ritualize. And I really think that recognizing the power that is within our own being, rather than looking at the power that is outside. My friend Carly today, hello Carly, she was saying how she's in New York, and she was saying how it's a weird reality we're in, but so much is out of our control within the virus things, being responsible, distancing, etc. But then letting go of the meeting, letting go of the parts that are not in our control, those are not our duties, and taking responsibility for what is, and making these rituals our path to authenticity and to having a sattvic mind. What would it look like? What would it look like if in 5 years from today you had some of these rituals each morning, midday, evening, and you'd done them every day for 5 years? What would that look like? What would it look like if in 5 years you look back and you had this 1 hour where you started speaking the truth clearly? And in that hour, it was uncomfortable at first. Whoa, you had some fights. But then that hour grew to 2 hours. And then it grew between, breakfast and dinner. And then it grew and grew and grew. And then your practices, your rituals became the bricks that paved the path of your life of yoga. That paved the path of your yoga. This is Mount Kailash. And Mount Kailash is in western Tibet, and it has never been climbed by anyone. Reinhold Messner, the world's greatest climber ever, went there thinking to climb it, got there and was like in awe and didn't do it. All people do is walk around this mountain in a kora, and it is a ritual, a pilgrimage of sacrifice of time and energy to align with something bigger, aligning with the axis of the universe, which is what it is known as in the mythology of yoga and Buddhism and Jainism. There is a power in ritual. There is a great power and liberation in sacrificing time and energy for something bigger than the menial tasks of the day. So I hope this has been interesting and helpful. Satya, truth, and authenticity, and yoga. Here, this is our life of yoga. So, an authentic being to an authentic being, Ali. May we hold each other deep in our hearts, and now may we practice. We're going to do 1 hour, level 1 at 10:30, and I'll do level 2 at 6:30 tonight. So let's prepare, and if not before, I see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for another talk. All of these are uploaded on my YouTube, Patrick Krillman on YouTube. Send me messages, talk to me, comments, questions. I'm answering them all. This is my little life, and I'm so thankful for it and for all of you. Okay, namaste, namaste. Great love.